We'd like to welcome two representatives from SMC Powder Metallurgy, a local family-owned powdered metal components manufacturer. From the Galeton facility, we have Brad Lewis, Engineering Manager, and from St. Mary's office, Dave Parsons, Vice President of Sales. Welcome.
Thanks, John. Happy to be here.
Good morning.
The Metal Powder Industries Federation, or MPIF, is a not-for-profit association formed by the powdered metal industry to advance the interests of the metal powder producing and consuming industries. SMC Powder Metallurgy is a member of the MPIF and recently received an award of distinction from them in the 2015 design competition. Dave, can you tell us a bit about the award process?
Sure, John. Each year, the MPIF runs a design competition for a number of different categories in the industry. We happen to compete in the automotive engine category with our entry. Happy to say this was the first time that we entered a product, and even happier to say we were able to come away with an award. The application process is actually quite involved. We first have to ask ourselves, do we have a product that's unique enough to enter in this competition? Because we're playing with the big boys in the industry. It's a long application. We've got to give the part name, its use and function, the design configuration, talk about the complexity of the shape, how close to net shape we are when we're done with it, engineering properties, process control, material properties, and that list just goes on and on. A couple of big keys now are sustainability. How long will that product stay in the marketplace? And they're beginning to ask more and more, does it contribute to a product being green? So we took this application process, put the data together from when we launched the project, put together some bullet points. We reviewed the wording with the team on multiple occasions, talked with Brad many times on it. We put some samples together, some of which you can see here, and we submitted the application along with the samples. Lo and behold, we got an email that we had been selected a winner. They won't tell you what you won, but they invite you to the awards ceremony to come and get your award. The judging criteria is 40% based on design, 40% on the engineering properties, 20% on the promotional value, and then again up to 10% extra credit for sustainability. So I actually had the easy part of the project because Brad is the guy that spearheaded the thing from the very beginning. It was just my task to put together the application, put the finishing touches on it, get it blessed by our owner, and send it off.
Brad, it's my understanding that this is actually a complex part that required a great deal of cooperation from a number of groups, and I understand that you had the responsibility to oversee the project when SMC took it on. Can you take some time and walk us through the project from startup to current production?
John, I certainly did, and had the opportunity to see the project long before SMC took it on. Initially, we reviewed it and it appeared to be outside of our capabilities. But after seeing it come back to us a year or so later, recognizing that some other manufacturers had some trouble with the product, the end customer asked us if we could look at it again. In the meantime, we had acquired some new technology in pressing, had talked about the powder, although hadn't put it into our regular mix of items available, and we had acquired a unique high-temperature sintering furnace, which was manufactured locally. What we did is we looked at those requirements, saw some tolerances and process capabilities that we had never done before, kind of reached into the box, pulled out some expertise of some local vendors, suppliers, vendors of materials, suppliers of processes, and we were able to come up with a process and quote it and work through a number of iterations to develop the product. And ultimately it was useful for the customer in the application, but not without about 200 conversations and exchanges and dialogues.
Dave, what did SMC learn from entering the competition, and what benefits do you hope to gain from winning the award?
Well, I think the biggest thing that we learned, and I think Brad and I talk about this on a regular basis, is set the bar high. I mean, there's stuff out there in this industry that your initial reaction is, not for us. Brad mentioned the joint effort with the local sources, from a powder standpoint, from a local machining standpoint. This area is blessed with a lot of good, capable suppliers to do different things in the powdered metal industry. It's not just what we do. It's putting the entire package together. So, number one, set the bar high. And second, feel good about playing with the big boys. I mean, there's a lot of bigger powdered metal companies out there. A lot of them have their own specific niches. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself, to go on to do some new things. This industry is ever developing. It's changing all the time. The parts are getting more complex. Weight requirements, other requirements like that in the marketplace. It's set the bar high.
Brad, understanding this is such a complex part, do you see SMC taking on similar or even more complex parts in the future?
Oh, without a doubt. The combined efforts of our sales, quality, manufacturing, and engineering teams have really left us with a lot of experience. In each of those areas, we have individuals with 40 years of experience that contribute to the evaluation of the project initially. We put together a plan of attack, provide it to sales and the marketing group so that they can put together the proper costs and the margin opportunities for us, and see if the quantities equal the kind of business that we need to be involved in. This project initially looked like that, and when we found out that others weren't successful, we were able to ensure that this part remained a powdered metal part, even when the end customer thought that maybe it should be a casting or a wrought machine part. We had assured them that we could meet the Six Sigma requirements of a minimum density and the fact that there wasn't going to be any connections of porosity which allowed the part to leak under high pressure.
Following up on that, I understand SMC took delivery in a brand new press with lots of capability. What will this bring to the table on future projects?
Well, ultimately, the ability to provide an even more precise part on an 8-level factor, 3 levels on the bottom and are on the top, and 5 levels on the bottom. We have ensured the capability to maintain tighter weight controls, and the vertical dimensions on the part and the reliability and repeatability from die set to die set are truly phenomenal. We believe this will allow us to enter a market that we previously haven't been competitive in.
Dave, I understand that in addition to the plaque SMC received, you'll be presenting one to your customer. What are your plans for that?
Well, first of all, we solicited their approval to nominate the part in the process. Felt that was important. We reviewed the application with them to make sure they were comfortable with what we were submitting. As you mentioned, there is a plaque for them, and Steve Lanzel, our president, when we can get schedules of presidents to match, will be going down to North Carolina to personally present the plaque to the folks down there, and it's our hope that it will be publicly displayed for other folks to see as they come into the customer's facility. And it's a big deal for them too, because they are big in this marketplace. They went out on a limb pushing the powdered metal version of this, and they're having a lot of success with it. So it not only is a marketing tool for us, but in the long run, a marketing tool for them. So I think the biggest thing we can get is solidifying the relationship going forward.
Brad, what would you say was the most gratifying when learning that SMC had won the award, and what would you say about it to someone looking to join the SMC team?
Well, I believe the most pleasing thing was recognizing that it was an award received from your peers, a group of manufacturers and material suppliers and equipment producers that recognized the opportunity that you took to present the product, had an investment of time and money. I think secondarily the opportunity to return it to the group that worked on the project and share the reward and the award with everyone that was involved. I'd say that a commitment of time and money and effort and the technology that exists with our young people and the new capabilities and materials and machinery, it's just a pat on the back to everyone that was involved.
Dave, I know that SMC has been doing some recruiting recently. How's that coming, and what are you looking for?
Well, the biggest thing that we are looking for right now is engineering capabilities and tool and die capabilities. Engineering at both the Galeton office and the St. Mary's office. Tool and die making capabilities at our Galeton manufacturing facility. The response has been pretty good. It is a bit of a seller's market right now for people with the qualifications. The nice thing I like about the way we're recruiting, and I think Brad can attest to this too, is our ownership is saying get creative in how you lure people to come to work for SMC. As I mentioned earlier, we're not a big company. And in many ways, that has some benefits. So the biggest thing that we're looking for is engineering support. Got some very nice candidates from the recruiting that we've done. Brad, anything you want to add to that?
Well, I think Dave speaks to that, and our ownership's made a point of that. We don't necessarily want to be the biggest, but we certainly like to be the best. And to be the best, you have to have the best. And we've recruited from the schools in Pennsylvania and around, Galeton University, Penn State University, and there are multiple locations, the schools in Alfred and Williamsport area. And we've found some candidates. As a matter of fact, we have some gentlemen right now that are going through the process of finding housing and making arrangements to join the group in Galeton. Galeton's a community that's in the middle of the northern portion of Pennsylvania, and you have to want to live there. And there's some scenic beauty and things that add to that, not only being part of a company that wants to be the best.
Brad Lewis and Dave Parsons from SMC Powder Metallurgy. Gentlemen, thanks for participating in this edition of Town Hall Tuesday. Any closing comments?
Right.
Just thank you for the opportunity to show a little bit of pride. No, it might be vainglory, but we certainly all recognize and relish the opportunity to be realized by our peers as among a premier manufacturer of powder metal parts.
Again, Brad and Dave, thank you very much, and congratulations to SMC Powder Metallurgy, recently awarded the 2015 Design Competition Award by the Metal Powder Industries Federation.